Hello, Ricardo.
Hi, it's so nice to see
you. Ricardo is a member of a Tempus Trio and a pianist. And Ricardo, please tell us a bit more of yourself and about the trio.
you. Of course, thank you so much for having me. It's such a great honor to actually speak to you all, and I'm very excited because I think it's really important to do these kind of things, just so that. So my aim of this talk is just to kind of inspire you, to give you information that I really hope that it will be useful. So that's the first and main idea. So just to tell you a little bit about myself. So as Stefania said, I'm a pianist. I studied at the Guildhall School. I did my undergraduate studies, so BMAS there, the master's program there, and I also did the doctorate there. I studied with John Huddle there, and then I did a postgraduate studies in Escuela Reina Sofia in Madrid also, in chamber music. And with my piano trio, the Tempus Trio, as Stefania said, we recently finished the master's program at the MOZARTEUM University in Salzburg. So, and these things actually are quite important, and I will tell you why later on. But I think, masters, especially if we are talking about chamber music, which we are, I think can be a great tool. So the first thing I'd like to pose a question to you all, which is, what does it really mean to have a chamber music group? So for me, there are a few ideas that I think that it would be good for us to think about. The first one for me is time. Time, because sometimes we think, let's get together, it's going to be great, and I love that guy, I love that person, let's do it. Okay, chamber music means rehearsals, and rehearsal. So it means that you need a lot of time to devote to this particular goal, to this particular idea, and that's really important. Also, it's important to understand, and we'll talk about that having a chamber music group, chamber music ensemble, is also having a business. So it's not just we are getting together, we're playing together, that's it, but also if we're trying to make it in this, in the 21st century, we need to see it as a business endeavor. So this is important. The second idea is teamwork. Now, sometimes I guess actually in this, like in all conservatoires, I would say, we are taught to try at least to become soloist, right? So we're really very much focused on, you have to practice like crazy, get recitals and all these things and competitions, right? And I think it's important to understand that chamber music, of course, you really need, especially in a piano trio, you need to have 3 people who play really, really well together and individually, but at the same time, it's all about teamwork. This is really, really important. You all need to have a vision. You need to have like, what is it that we want to have out of this chamber group? And I think that's really important.
Yes.
Sorry?
The same vision, probably. Yes.
100%, because otherwise it will be a problem, and we'll talk about that, but absolutely, that's so important, 100%. Then another important idea for me is dialogue. As musicians, sometimes we are so narrow-minded. We are like, this is it. It's me, my ideas, and I'm practicing alone. And that's it. Especially as a pianist, it definitely happens all the time. And one of the wonderful things of having a chamber ensemble is that there's this dialogue. And I love this idea that 3 minds are better than just one. Yes. In my case, 3, quartet 4, or whatever, your chamber group is. But I think that's really, really, really important. Now, respect, that's the next. And for me, this is one of the main ideas, and that's really, really important. Now, why is that important? If you really think about the reality of a chamber group, I would say if a day has 24 hours and we are practicing for, I don't know, 10, 12 hours every day, but, because of course we do kind of sessions we cannot be together all the time because we all have different schedules, and we'll talk about that in a bit. Out of these 10, 12 hours, I would say that 90% of the time we are criticizing one another. We are pointing out every little detail that is not working.
Really?
We are telling each other what's not working. That rhythm is not precise enough. That sound is not clear. That shape was not well, like from the beginning till the end, it was not clear enough. It was not pretty well created or played. So that's hard. That is very, very hard, because it means that unless you really care for each other, maybe I'm not going to use the word love, because that's a very big word.
Yes.
But to be honest, if you love your partners, it will really, really help you, because it's so intense that I think having a huge amount of respect for each other is key to being able to kind of move on. Because otherwise, maybe, like in any relationship, actually, I would say, when you start, everything is perfect, everything works, everything ticks. But then obviously, as a timbre ensemble, then you start kind of really trying to deepen your knowledge of the works of each other, of how you play together and everything, right? And when you get to that point, it is essential that you're able to tell your colleagues, okay, this is not working, right? And that honesty has to be based on respect, on mutual respect, because otherwise exactly, I would say it's pretty much impossible to move forward. So that's really, really important. Now, two more ideas that I would like to convey in this first point. The next one is commitment. Now, I would say, especially for definitely string quartet, but also for a piano trio, the commitment is key. Why? So if we think of a string quartet, which probably is, one of the most famous, or kind of maybe, right, kind of the pinnacle of chamber music playing, right? Just because of the string quartets written by all the great composers that we all know and love. If you think about the amount of time that you will have to put towards those people and that project, if there is no commitment, I would say don't start it, unless you really know that you really want to spend that kind of time with your colleagues, building on a project, building on an idea, on a vision, on a brand, then don't start it. However, you know what I mean? However, if you are excited about this, if you really think, yes, this is what I want to do, then go for it, because it's totally worth it, of course. Now, I'm not saying that when we start a project, we should know everything that it will entail. Of course not. We need time to learn things, and it takes time to get to know each other. And of course, I'm not saying that. What I am saying is that one should really evaluate what are my priorities right now in my life, and can I really fit it in? If it's a string quartet, for instance, you will have to devote many hours on tuning, on just creating an actual sound together. If it's a piano trio, a key thing is articulation, for instance, right? So string players, so violin and cello, and then me as a pianist, how do we approach? I don't have a bow, so how can I create the illusion of having a bow? And of course, my percussion, the kind of the articulation as a pianist that I have, how can they imitate that, and how can we find a balance and all that? So that takes many hours of rehearsals, many years of working on this, of course, on a particular sound. So I think this is really important. Are you ready to make that kind of commitment? Is it something that you want to do, or so I think this is really important. And the last idea is hard work. If you're ready to do it, go for it, but be aware it will definitely be hard work, because now there's a fine idea that I want to mention at this point, which is sometimes in life we talk about sacrifice, and I think in this particular kind of projects, it's not about sacrificing. I think sacrificing is the wrong word, but it's rather about being sure of what it is that you're choosing.
Yes.
Because when you choose something, you're not sacrificing. You're just saying, okay, this is it. And Exactly. And then you're happy to, you will put everything, on the table so that that project can work, right? But I think it's really important, and to all the students that will listen to this talk, I think it's important to really be aware that it is hard work, but it is worth it. But, I think that balance needs to be at the forefront of our minds. I think that's really important. Now, so at this point, the second idea, the general idea that I wanted to discuss is, what is it that helps talent group? Now, for me, I will kind of talk about two different paths. Obviously, there is no right path. There's not just one path. There's no way, not just one way in life, of course, 100%. But I think it is true that there's the traditional kind of approach that, has worked. Maybe not 21st century, who knows? But let's talk about the traditional way.
Okay, traditional.
Obviously, exactly. Yes. Obviously, as musicians, as classical musicians, one of the important tools that we have at our disposal are competitions, of course. If we win a big competition, that will mean exposure, and that will mean constant engagements, and that will definitely help us. 100%, of course.
Yes.
However, for me and for Tempus Trio, for our group, one of the things that we have learned through competitions, we've been lucky enough to win many, many prizes, but the competitions that we have not been prize winners of any competitions that's been the case, I would say the most important part of any competition we've done is the process behind it. For me, this is a very, very important idea that I want to convey to you all. Mm-hmm. So when you do a competition, of course, when you enter a competition, your goal, your ultimate goal is, of course, I would love to win it. I would like to, try to achieve that greatness, right? But I do not know who our audience is right now, so I do not know if I'm talking to people who have done many, many international competitions, or just one or none. But whatever your situation is, yes, I can tell you that there's so many things that that play a role into whether you will win or not. Mm-hmm. Many of them are up to you, but some of them aren't. So many different things. Like, I don't want to get into it now, but there are many, many reasons why maybe you'll have a great day, but then that programmer, that presenter will think, okay, these three groups are all amazing. However, for me, at this point, it's really important that I have a string quartet, because the venues I have didn't have a grand piano. That's one reason. Or my idea of the programming that I want to create, it has to do with the sound, and I need a singer with a specific sound. And unless that group has a singer, then that's not what I really need, right? So I think all these things and many, many other reasons can have a role, can play a part in the decisions, whether you will win or not. But what I can guarantee you is the process, the rigor that you will find through preparing all the videos, getting that program, the many rounds that you will have to prepare for, getting that program, that repertoire really top-notch, getting it absolutely beautiful, running it through many, 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 many times, playing it for your colleagues, recording yourself, preparing a recording. All those months of very hard work, for me, that is the real prize of competitions. So, what I would say is, of course, let's not be naive. Of course, if we can, we should aim to have that opportunity of winning the competition. Of course, 100%. However, the real progress that you'll make through that competition process, that preparation, that is priceless. That is really priceless. And the beautiful thing about that is that it's on you. It depends on it's up to you 100%. There's nothing, it's all on you. So I think this is really important. And I really wanted to kind of convey that idea, because sometimes when we think of competitions, if we lose, that's it, right? It's the end of it. And sometimes that really helps us, not just for the process, but because it makes you rethink who you are,
Yes,
what went wrong, right? So I think these things are really, really important.
Yes.
Okay, more things that are important. Mentorship. Mentorship is also really, really important. In our case, Professor Cibran Sierra Vázquez, who is the second violin of the Quiroga Quartet, he is an unbelievable teacher, but not only that, he's also a very wise person, a great human being, but also someone who has taken great care of who we are as an ensemble from a human point of view and from a professional point of view. And as you're saying, Stefania, of course, that's super important. And this is important that when we are looking for master's program, especially for master's programs, I would say, this is something that we have to take into consideration. So first thing, it has to be a great professor, of course. It's really important, someone who really knows what he or she is talking about, of course. But at the same time, it's really important that that person can really inspire us, can help us to navigate this world. Because this profession is tricky. That side of business, and we'll get there in a second, is so important. And we don't know how to navigate this, And in this case, he has been such an important help, such a guiding force and light. So I think this is something that I really would like to convey to you all as well. Having a mentor, thinking about the kind of professor that you want to, to apply for in a university, in a college, I think that's really important. What kind of person would you like to become your mentor, your guide, the person that will help you through this process, right? I think this is something that one has to really think about.
So you were studying with him in Salzburg.
Yes, he's a professor here, and the work that he's done here at the MOZARTEUM University is amazing. Is amazing. Like the chamber department, ever since he got here, he's just a great human being, a great professor. And please take my word for it. If you ever, and I'm very serious about this, if you ever get a chance to play for him, Professor Cibran Sierra Vázquez, don't miss out, please. He is great. It will, sometimes if you go to a lesson, right, and you say, wow, that was great. But then sometimes you go to a lesson and you think, wow, that really, that has changed everything, right? Every single lesson I've had with him for more than 3 years has been like that. Every single lesson.
That's amazing.
Anyway, so that's that. So mentorship. So now, master's program. So this is related. As a chamber ensemble, I would say it's not like nothing that I'm saying is absolute. I don't have the absolute truth. I'm just saying what has worked for me and what I think can be relevant for you. For me, as an ensemble, as a chamber ensemble, doing a master's program, again, the preparation, the hard work will definitely help you, but also it can give you a stamp, a signature, it can help you define who you are. In our case, we are the first piano trio who has ever completed the program at the MOZARTEUM University. There have been many trios that have entered the program, that have done some of the some parts of the program, but actually starting and finishing it, we are the first ones. And that is something that tells you something about our trio.
Yes.
And this is important, storytelling, and we'll get to that in a minute. Now, final point, agencies, and all these very important things.
Yes. So, how does that work? We don't have.
How does it work? Oh my gosh, this is the holy grail question, isn't it?
Yes, and also nobody tells us that.
It is so true. It is so true. Yeah. Okay, so our experience has been that obviously at the moment we have 2 agents, but we are not part of any agency. Yes. So the agencies are a tricky thing. So if you're a star, if you're a player who is amazing, and when you were very young, you started kind of having lots of concerts and, fine. Maybe you will be part of an agency who will create many, many opportunities for you. That can be the case. Yes. However, what I would say is most of the agencies are helpful. But for me, the main idea I want to convey about agencies is this. Even if you have an agent or if you are part of an agency, you still need to put on the hard work. You still need to send emails. You still need to be an active agent of your own career. Yeah, this is really important. So, of course, agencies or an agent can be a great platform, of course. But, okay, pitfalls of having an agency or an agent is, do we have the same vision?
Yes, it's always the question.
Do we have the same goals? What kind of percentage will they take for each concert? Will they take percentages of concerts that you have found on your own merits or not? And then how does it work? Will they contact the venues and then that's it? And then you do you do all the admin after that? So yes, they just kind of give you the contact? Or will they be sending all the emails? They will kind of representing you throughout the whole process? So what I would say is, this is really important. Yeah, agencies or agents, I would say is, it works as long as you guys share the same vision, as you guys have the same objectives. And now that's very tricky. It's not easy. It's very, very hard. For us, what we have found is that the agencies are tricky. So that's our experience. So what I would say is, always read the contracts from the first letter till the end.
The end.
Very important. And really, really, really think, is this something that will help us? Yeah. Have as many meetings as it takes. Don't just say, oh, wow, yes, let's go for it. Now, many agencies will say, okay, you have to pay 100 euros a month, 200 euros a month, plus the percentage that, so there might be a fee. So you need to evaluate, is this worth it? So be aware, do you have to give up your contact list? Will they provide you their contact list? Yeah. These are all really, really important ideas. And we will talk about this further in a minute as well. So this for me is kind of the traditional way, right? All these things are kind of what we've been taught. We look through social media and wow, that person is there, and wow, the agent is helping them so much. Okay, so that's one option. Now, another way for me, and for us it has definitely worked, is a slower way. But it's something I really want to convey to you, because I think that no matter what is important, which is, how do we build up a career? And I like you all right now to imagine a small animal, any small animal that you like, a turtle, the famous story about a turtle and a wolf, and who got at the end faster. You all know the story. Yes. Anyway, so the whole point is that a turtle or any slow-paced animal might get till the end, somehow. The point is whether or not you're moving forward every single day. Every single practice session, every single email is better than the one before. I think that's key. So about that, really important. And this is another key idea that I would like you all to take away from this talk, which is, make sure that whenever you're invited to a concert venue, they call you back. This is essential. Why? How do we do that? Why is it important? Because if we, every time we're invited to a place, if we are called back, that's how you build an agenda. That's how you build a schedule. That's how you build a season, a concert season, whether you have an agent or not. And that's why it's so important. You know, if you have an agent or if you're part of an agency, that might be faster. Yes, it might be. Not necessarily, but it might be. However, if every time you're contacted by a concert programmer or whatever, you're nice to them, you're kind to them, you're responsible, you reply to the emails well, on time, and properly, coherently. And once you get there, you talk to the people like properly, not just to the concert programmer, but to the person who comes to the door, to the person who shows you to the dressing room, to the light, to the light technicians.
Yes.
If you do all these things well, obviously if you play badly, no one can help with that. But if you do this and play well, then there's a very, very good chance that they'll call you back. And this is something that sometimes, I mean, it's quite obvious. Yes, it is. But sometimes we don't think about that. And believe me, in our case, we are quite lucky. I would say that 99% of the venues that where we've played in, they've called us back. And that is so important.
Yes.
Because it's essential. Because also, as with any other aspect in life, people talk. People talk about how the Tempus Trio were great, but not just as musicians, but also as how they were such nice guys, they were such nice people, like these things, people talk about these things. And we have to be kind to one another just because we are human beings, but sometimes we forget when we're doing these kind of things because we might be stressed, we might be having a tour, and then we're coming, it's a different program, and we really need to practice, and we need to get in like the dress rehearsal. Exactly. Yes. So I would say that, this is really, really important. Okay, really important. Having good relationships will definitely help your career. This is really, really important. Now, something which is really important, two more ideas about this. The first one is commissioning works to 21st century composers. This is really, really, really important. We have great composers nowadays, and commissioning works can be a great way of establishing a great relationship with them. And then he or she might have context to that particular concert venue, and that will help you. And it also helps on a very important idea, which is the concept of legacy. If we commission works, the temple, which we do, by the way, the Tempus Trio, we actually do this every year. This is great because it means that these things, it will be like writing a book, or planting a tree, that kind of, very traditional, say exactly. So I would say that these things have a lasting impact. Some of the works that are having commissioned for us now are played by students in ESMUC, and this is great because, this is like, for us, it's so important because it means that, we have done something with our lives. You know what I mean? Like it's a little, it's a very small contribution, but it is a contribution, right? So exactly. So I think this is important because these relationships are really important. And also is being open-minded about interdisciplinary performances. So having collaborations with actors, with actresses, with singers, creating, performances that are not just music. For instance, I remember when I was studying in London, this is really interesting. I remember in London, there was this beautiful performance at the Wimore Hall where they did, I believe it was a pianist and a singer and also an actress. And they were playing works by Clara Schumann, by Brahms, and they were reading letters at the same time. And, and the pacing of the connection between words and music was beautifully kind of connected. And all of these things are really important. One has to think about these things because being open-minded help us to explore things that maybe, we didn't think about that. And all of a sudden it's like, wow, that did open a door for us,
Yes.
And
because
that's really
we all tell a story.
So this is really important. So to be open-minded about, different projects that at first you might think this does not make any sense, but actually all of a sudden you create a connection with an actress who has a connection, she or he knows a programmer from the Wigmore Hall or from the Real Festival Hall, and then all of a sudden,
Yes, it goes
you never
like
know.
that.
Exactly,
Yes,
you never know. So creating these ideas, and also it is enriching for ourselves as musicians. Working with actors or actresses, they have a completely different idea of our body language. These things are always enriching. So
yes,
we have to be open-minded about that. Okay, now a couple more ideas and we are done here. So the importance of building a brand. This is really important. Who are you? Who is your group? Like what makes you different? What kind of group are you? Now this is important because, so for instance, I'll just ask a very quick and straight question.
yes.
Do we just play classical music, as in like up till the 20th century-ish? Or are we actually open-minded, and are we open to having a real dialogue with the 21st century music that is being created now?
Mm-hmm.
I think that is a very, very important question. Like, are we just playing, for instance, in our case, are we just doing, the complete works, like all the trios by Mozart, all the trios by Brahms, all the trios by Mendelssohn? Is this what we are doing? Or are we actually going to push our limits, right? For instance, just an idea. We were recently contacted by a programmer in Italy, and they said, do you guys have a work by a contemporary composer who is Italian? And we were like, no, but we are so happy to look into it. And we actually did. And we found different pieces. And I cannot tell you right now because it's not closed yet, the deal, but we are working on like 3 or 4 ideas, and all of a sudden we might have another concert, that if we had we not been open to this possibility, then we would have never had this option, right? So I think this is really, really important. Okay, again, when we talk about commissioning works, the idea of legacy, that also helps us to know who we are. This is really important. More ideas. Social media. How do we use it? Do we use it? What image do we portray? What kind of content do we create? Mm-hmm. How do we portray it? How do we tell our story, as you were saying? Storytelling is so important, so important. Do we just put, hey, we have a concert tomorrow, come. Okay, or do we say, hello, tomorrow we have a program by Schubert and Rachmaninoff. This is really important because actually there's a connection between these 2 works that we are playing. So what I would say is, this is what I want to say. Think about what it is that you want to put out there. What kind of image, but think. Don't just record videos, don't just put things and just post stories or posts, but actually really think this through, have an idea, have a goal. In 1 year time, this is what we want to achieve. In 5 years time, this, and in 10 years. So have a vision. This is really important because otherwise we have great tools. Social media can be a great tool, but
it can also be on the other side.
100%. So I would say, try to really use it to your advantage. Try to use it to create something that is meaningful, that you like it, that you love it, that represents you. I think this is really important.
Yes.
Also, do we have a dossier? How do we present ourselves to the programmers? Do we send a monthly letter, like a newsletter or something like this? There are many, many options. The important thing is what works for us. Who are we? No. The special thing about us is that we're all from Slovenia, and we love Slovenian composers, and we're going to go crazy on that, but also creating all the connections that the Slovenian composers had with classical German kind of composers, romantic composers. Wow, that's great. Oh, really? And how many groups are there? I don't know. Maybe not that many who are doing that niche, that specific idea, right? So, you know what I mean? Like, have a very clear, have brainstorming sessions, I would say, at the beginning of, okay, we love each other, we play great together, great.
And what now?
What now? Exactly, that's the question. What now? Exactly. Very good. So let's discuss the business aspect of having a chamber ensemble. Okay, so one of the things that musicians we don't know is that being a musician is like being a business person. We need to know how to deal with, how to manage a team, how to send emails, how to approach programmers, how to create and design a dossier, create a vision, create a brand. All these things are, it seems like we should just practice, be in our practice room and that's it, right? And everything will work out. No. So when we send emails, again, how do we send them? Do we use a special font? Mm-hmm. How do we write? Are we good in every language that we write in? Do we use people? Do we use any other translator? Mm-hmm. How do we use it? Do we send it to a friend of ours who speaks that language really well and double checks it for us or not? And are we using every opportunity like to tell our story? Mm-hmm. So, for instance, hello, dear programmer, blah blah blah. It is so nice to write you these lines because we are excited to come and play for you. As you know, our trio, we love the dialogue between Slovenian composers and romantic music from that specific area in Germany or whatever. Mm-hmm. But, it's a small thing, but that programmer, it has to be concise, by the way. This is really important. It cannot be like, an essay. That doesn't work. And believe me, this is a good, but every opportunity that you have to convey an idea that it's not just another quartet, another quintet, another duo, another trio, whatever it is that you're doing, every opportunity counts. Make it count. This is really, really important. Now, yes, super important idea. Be courageous. What does that mean? There's a meeting in our university about people who are doing whatever. Go to it. There's a seminar which sounds very random, but go to it. There's a meet and greet after a concert. Oh man, I'm so tired today. Go to it. There's someone is having drinks like at art gallery and they've invited you. Oh man, I don't want to go to that art gallery. I'm not feeling like go to it. Be courageous, be open-minded. Why? Because you never know who will be there.
Mm. Yes.
You don't know.
Open every door that you can.
Yes. I'm not saying the most important thing is you need to practice. Yes. Yes. Many, many hours, of course, 100%. But what I'm saying is many times, like going to concerts, sometimes we're like, oh, man, I don't want to go to a concert. Well, maybe you should, because all these are opportunities. And at the end of the day, if you go to a concert, for instance, that's just enriching for your life, and that's also important. We need to take care of ourselves. Yes. But seriously, meetings, meet and greet, drinks, dinners, art galleries, events, things like this, go to them. And also, when considering a master's program or any other endeavor, or where are we going to base our trio, our quartet, our chamber group ensemble, think about the city that you want to live in as well. There are many reasons, but this is important, of course. For instance, London. I lived in London for 10 years. Yes. London is an amazing, vibrant reality of culture. You have so many concert venues. There's so many amazing opportunities there. And this is something important because when you're part of that fabric, of that social reality, then these opportunities are open to you. So this is something that you should also consider when, okay, so our next step is going to London. Great. Okay, we want to open the London market. Okay, do you actually know the London market? Yes, I do. Great. So then be part of it. Go to Wigmore Hall, go to the Royal Festival, go to Cadogan Hall, go to all these venues and understand what kind of seasons do they program? Do they have like young people concerts or not? Do they just play contemporary music? Or do they have like a combination of both? Do they do these interdisciplinary projects? All these things are really important and are part of this kind of business reality that we live in. And it's important because that helps us to create our brand, helps us create who we are as an ensemble. right? Because if we're just like, yeah, we just practice, we send some emails, and that's it, that is not good enough. It's not going to cut it. There are so many ensembles. There's so many, and so many very, very, very good ensembles out there that it's essential that we work very, very hard on these things. So
I understand.
I would like to finish with one idea, which is, if you really love what you do, it will still be hard, but it will be a much more enjoyable and profound journey. Thank you so much, everyone.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much for this.
So I don't know if you guys have questions or.
Yes, and it's my pleasure to have you here and to hear everything that you said. Really, because it means a lot. Also, this everything that you said about agencies, I think it's very important because we don't have any information about that. Yes, and then you finish your studies, and then you want to start something, and then you're at one point where you don't know where to start. So it's very, very important for us.
Yeah. Yes. Thank you. No, it's been my pleasure. I think, as I said, I don't have the absolute truth. It is my vision. I've tried to convey it with honesty and with what my experience has been. And the only goal of this talk is just to inspire you all, and and I hope that I can help you, even if it's just in a very small way.
Yes.
And I'm more than happy just to to have done it. So
you're very good. Thank you.
It's my pleasure. It's my pleasure. So if you guys have no more questions.
No.
Miha, maybe you have one. I don't know if you.
Miha, do you have one?
Yeah.
Go for it.
My question is actually, we can probably collaborate in some other ways also, because maybe with this, we were talking with Stefania before, and with now here is also Nina Podlipnik with us.
Hi, very nice to meet you, Nina. We've sent each other some emails.
Yeah, and I must say that I couldn't.
Hi. Oh yes. Hi. Hello. Very nice to meet you in person.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, I must say that I couldn't listen to the whole thing because I'm preparing some score that I need to send till midnight.
That's absolutely fine.
But what I listened was really interesting, and you said really in a good way. So yeah.
Thank you. Thank you. No, I appreciate it. And seriously, well, thank you to Stefania for, it was such a pleasure to work with in the past. And thank you to you both and to the university, because, for me, obviously it's an honor and it's a great pleasure, but I think these things are really important, that to have the vision of someone who is trying to make it as well, who is playing. And we had our debut at Carnegie Hall last July, with a trio. And these things are so important because sometimes, you just are thrown out there and all of a sudden you think, what am I supposed to do, right? So I think having a clear idea of what it is that you're trying to achieve, I think it really helps. And I think there are some ideas that I think I talked about that can be helpful to the students. And I think that can be really, really useful. Yeah, absolutely.
Yes. Thank you.
Yeah. But thank you so much. Really, it's been a pleasure. And if you have enjoyed it, then I'm happy that I can go to sleep very, very happy right now. So
yes.